It's funny. If you're like well off in America, you're eating food quality up here. If you're middle to lower class, you're eating food quality way down here. If you live in South America and Africa, you're eating food quality way up here. It's crazy that the poorest people in the world, not everywhere, not some of them are eating mud, but there are areas where people have like mud huts, but they walk out, catch a fish, and are eating fresh caught salmon. And that is better quality food than the mac and cheese McDonald's stuff that people are eating in this country.
And Americans get sick when they go to countries like that because they're not used to eating real food.
Yeah, but the biggest point that you made in that whole thing is that the middle class is basically getting destabilized. The middle class is disappearing here in America, and that's what built this country, or I think that's the most important class in this country. And now they're making it where it's just elites and the super poor. And so if you don't realize, you can see the forecasting, and they're saying, food shortages, energy shortages. All that does is destabilize the middle class with this massive inflation where people cannot take their kids on a vacation. They can't afford to feed them in a public restaurant.
I think it's a culling. I'm not saying it's an intentional culling, but there is a culling that is happening to a degree. With food shortages, with the stress on the supply chain, what we're going to see is the poorest people in the world are going to be left destitute and desperate. And the elites, the upper class, the people, they don't care. And you can see this in the voting patterns. The Democratic Party has become the party that has become more white and more upper class. The Republican Party has become more working class, more blue collar, and more diverse. Democrats don't care about talking about inflation. They don't care about pumping money into the economy. What they care about is January 6th, because they're all, they're in houses that are on the hills, and the water is rising. And the people voting for Donald Trump and the people on the ground are watching the water rise around them. They're freaking out. The Democrats don't care. Those people don't vote for us.
I'm in an affluent neighborhood in Dallas, and that's what they're called, limousine liberals. I mean, they're not worried about the massive inflation. So if you don't think that, this social justice lifestyle is basically people on the left that aren't even affected by it, you're wrong. So you're 100% right when you talk about that.
That's when that's why I brought up the war machine earlier, because I feel like I think that we are, and I'll speak for all of us here, are from a severely affluent environment where I've never suffered starvation ever in my life. Never experienced it.
I'm not from that.
I've been hungry. Well, at this stage of your life, you are. Maybe
at this stage of my life, I am not homeless or
Were you
hungry.
ever technically starving? I mean, you may have been hungry.
Yes.
Starvation is when your body's like wasting away kind of thing.
And I was.
So it's pretty brutal.
And my cheeks were sunken in. I had black rings under my eyes, and I was eating oatmeal cream pies once a day.
Well, you're lucky to have access to oatmeal cream pies. Some people eat mud, like you said earlier,
right,
and are willing to kill for food. But literally kill and steal.
I was like emaciated, and I was I weighed like 139 pounds or whatever, and then I slowly clawed my way out of that.
It's brutal. I lived in New York. I was living in my car, had food stamps. Thank God, or I was washing my hands with rainwater because I didn't have that. But nothing like the poverty of desperation that will drive people to kill for food and access to water. So that's why there's a war machine. That's part of why there's a war machine, is to conquer rivers and food cropland.